Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name's Zachary Rogers, and welcome to the first ever Midweek Radio Show. We've got a great lineup for you tonight, including segments like sports and news, as well as entertainment. We've got it all here for you. First up, we have our local news with Dean Barker and Noah from JMU. Hey guys, how's it going?
Good evening and welcome to BC Voice Midweek Radio. I'm Dean Barker, and I'm glad to have with me one of the executive directors for this year's JMU Relay for Life, Noah McLemore. Thanks for coming in tonight.
Oh, thank you for having me.
So, before we get started, because a lot of people don't know who you are, because obviously you don't go here, so just give us a little bit of information about you, who you are, where you're from, all that good stuff.
Alrighty. Well, my name's Noah, like you said. I am a sophomore at JMU, and I am the logistics chair for our Relay for Life at JMU. I'm from Virginia Beach, Virginia, and I am a health services administration major. So, kind of having a leadership role in Relay for Life is a big passion of mine. And, yeah, that's about me.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, we actually had this interview scheduled last minute. I was gonna have my friend Mary Margaret Anthony, because she's on the team. She's on the team for setting this up too. So shout out to her. She couldn't make it, so she sent my buddy Noah in here, and here we are. So, how did you get? You said that you're on the logistics chair.
Yep.
So like, how did you get involved with Relay for Life at JMU, or just Relay for Life in general? Did you know anybody who had cancer, or so how did you get here?
Yeah, so when I was in 7th grade, my Aunt Dana, my mom's only sister, got diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. And I had never seen a family member like that die unexpectedly. That wasn't like a grandfather. It was really hard on me, and I kept trying to figure out something to do to like just help. And then after she passed away, I almost had felt like I could do nothing. And then just different organizations came into my life that helped me make a difference. And I have always tried to find the next organization that helps cancer patients to help out. And I was on my tour at JMU when I was like a senior in high school when they were setting up for Relay for Life. I had never heard of it. Saw that it was a huge event. We're actually the second largest collegiate level Relay for Life in the country. Yeah, so I immediately was drawn to it, and as soon as I got to JMU my freshman year, I started trying to figure out how I could get on. I joined the planning committee, so basically just helped out, did what I could, and then as soon as I got an opportunity to actually have like an executive position, I applied, took it. Well, applied, got it, and then took it.
Wow.
So.
Yeah, that's awesome. I remember I went last year to JMU's Relay for Life. I wasn't available for Bridgewater's, and it was packed. Like, the line had to be like 300 feet long just to get in there. And then once I got in there, there were so many tents from so many different student organizations. I think President Alger, he got up and he gave a speech beforehand. So it's a great event. I highly recommend that everybody goes if you have the chance. So what exactly is Relay for Life? Because there are a lot of people here who have never been.
Yeah, so Relay for Life is an event held by the American Cancer Society, who is the second largest provider of money for cancer research after only the United States government in this country. So it's a very big deal, and it basically is a fundraiser to help us get money to do different things like research, or we do various things like your $15 registration fee actually gives a person a ride to chemotherapy. So it's a fundraiser like that really just makes an impact on the community. And the kind of premise of it is that since cancer never sleeps for one night, neither will we. So it's going to be on April 3rd, which is a Friday, from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. the next morning. And we basically have a large ceremony celebrating survivors, just remembering those that lost the fight, but doing it all so that more people will be able to live and just beat cancer. So yeah, that's basically the premise of it.
All right. Okay, so that was going to be my next question, asking when it was. So if somebody hears this and they're thinking, yeah, I want to go to Relay for Life, what can they expect when they get there?
What you can expect. So it's on JMU's campus, right in the middle, and basically we're gonna have a big track painted with a giant stage. We're gonna have performers, games, different people are gonna come out. Some people from our rec center sometimes, well, they do come out and they do little exercise classes at 3 a.m. Just fun and goofy stuff like that. And then we have some more serious stuff like our Lumi ceremony, where we take these bags and we light them up in remembrance of those that lost their lives to cancer. So people that come should expect all of those things, and then just a great time. Just a great time for a great cause. So
yeah, sounds good. One thing I will say though, I remember last year, if you go, you're gonna be sure to go online and see where you can park on JMU's campus, because if you park in the wrong area, you might get a ticket. I found that out the hard way. So I mean, well, if you've never gotten a ticket on JMU's campus, I think they actually just issue a $0 ticket that you just have to fill out and then send it back to them. But that is something you need to be aware of if this is your first time going. So how do people sign up for Relay for Life?
Yeah, so we have a website, which is relayforlife.org/JMU, and right now the registration fee is $15. And if you're kind of thinking I don't want to spend $15, that's I don't know, 5 coffees, and it pays for the ride for somebody to go to chemotherapy, if you wanted to think about it in that way. And the registration is going to go up the night of the event at $20, I believe. Yeah, I think. But so I would go ahead and sign up, get it at the $15. I mean, if you want to give us $20 the night of, that's cool too. But
yeah, I mean, you can also just can people donate if they're not able to go but still want to help the cause?
Yeah.
So, yeah, you can donate, and I think, if I recall correctly from last year, if you sign up with a certain group on campus, I think whichever student organization has the most money signed up for, I think they win a prize or something.
Yeah, this past year we recognized the student orgs on our campus that rose the most money. We gave them a banner and everything like that. It's a pretty cool honor.
Wow. Yeah, so hold on, let me see this. So speaking man to man, not just as an executive director, why should somebody sign up for this as opposed to doing anything, or just, I don't know, making their own donations? What if you had it, because a bunch of people are listening to this, why should somebody go to Relay for Life?
Yeah. I think, well, the one thing we like to do is when we go into a organization on campus and we're talking to people trying to get them to come, we have everyone shut their eyes, and we basically start out by saying, if a parent's been affected by cancer, raise your hand. If a brother, a sister, an uncle, and then after a few of those, we say, open your eyes. You turn around, everyone's going to have their hand up. Everyone is affected by cancer. I bet everyone listening to this knows at least 1, 2, 3 people that have been affected by cancer. And Relay for Life is really a time to see all the people that really care about this cause and really want to get into the fight and just help out as much as you can. And it's donating's great and that's amazing, but the event is where you show up and you show your support for those that have lost their lives to cancer and who are fighting the fight right now. So.
Okay, yeah, and I mean that's obviously very important. Cancer is probably one of the deadliest diseases that there is in the country. It kills countless people every year. I mean, as you said, everybody's probably affected by it, or if you're not directly affected personally, you know somebody who is. So, in order to help, giving money and showing up and supporting this great cause, I mean, Relay for Life has been doing this for I don't know how many years now. It's run by the American Cancer Society, And yeah, I highly recommend it. And some people listening might wonder because Bridgewater actually is doing one too. It's interesting. This year, Bridgewater's Relay for Life is going to be on Friday, May 29th. So a lot of people here aren't going to be able to attend that because they have to go home for school. And even if, they go home from school, and even if they're going to be having a May term or something like that, it ends before then. So if you want to come donate and help this great cause, you want to help JMU, you want to help Relay for Life, you can go. Hold on, I had the link right here. You can go online and search JMU Relay for Life, and I think the first one that pops up, you can do something with that. They'll get you set up. But we want to make sure that, because we know that a lot of people from Bridgewater can't do this, everybody needs to go support JMU. And you can email whitney.minnick@cancer.org to get more information. So we look forward to seeing you all out there. I'll probably be out there. So I look forward to seeing you out there, Noah. We're glad that you could come in. Thanks for your time.
Oh, thank you for having me.
All right. Send it back to you guys. Go Dukes and go Eagles.
Thanks, guys. That was Dean Barker and Noah from JMU, and that was just great. I really liked that message, just his story with just a family member just losing his family member to cancer, and just doing this event. Just to help other people from cancer that have cancer, just to help them out, help everyone out. And next we have Patrick Tiffey and Moham Whittaker with local sports. Hey guys, you're on.
Hey guys, how you doing? It's my first time on the radio, so go ahead and give me a break. I think it's Mekhai's too, so.
Yes, definitely. Mine as well.
We're going to see how this goes. Hopefully it's smooth and steady.
So we're going to give you guys a local sports report of sports here in the Valley. We're going to start with JMU football, who actually played in the FCS National Championship. It was held down in Frisco, Texas on January 11th. JMU actually came up short in the battle, losing 28-20 to the North Dakota State. And JMU was actually number 2 coming into the game. And North Dakota State was 16-0, sitting at number 1. JMU was on a 14-game win streak, actually finishing the season 14-2. And they just ended up coming up short.
Yeah, so it's actually kind of funny. One of JMU's losses, other than that, is to West Virginia, my home state. So I'm very proud of that. But other than that, it was kind of crazy. North Dakota State's quarterback ran for 281 yards while only throwing for 72 yards. So at that point in the game, fourth quarter, you're losing. You might as well throw 10 guys in the box and just blitz everyone. So it's kind of like, what the heck? But late in the game, there's a pass interference call late in OT. It put JMU on the 3 with a chance to send the game into OT. My bad, I apologize. But intercepted by a Bison linebacker, James Hendricks, to seal the game. Ben DiNucci, JMU's quarterback, threw for 2 touchdowns, while Riley Stapleton, who had 10 catches for 100 yards. Percy Obese led JMU on the ground with 73 yards rushing, and actually is the 7th running back in JMU history to accomplish the 12,000-yard mark in a career. So other than JMU football, we got JMU basketball, who on their last outing on January 12th, 2020, lost to Drexel 78-71, and they're currently sitting at 8-9, 1-5 in the conference. Rough year for the Dukes so far, but Matt Lewis, a junior, led the team with 24 points and 3 assists and 2 steals, while Darius Banks chipped in with 13 points. Michael Christmas is a forward, got 12 points, and so far,
Christmas actually, as you spoke about your hometown, West Virginia, I'm actually from the 757. Michael Christmas also.
Big shout out right there.
Big shout out to the 757 and Michael Christmas for doing his thing with 12 points in the JMU loss. Actually, further into the game, the Drexel Dragons were led by Cameron Winter. He actually had 17 points, 10 rebounds, and 7 assists. During the first half, the game was close. JMU cut the Drexel lead down to 7 with 3:08 left in the half. Ended up hitting 7 straight buckets to send the game to a tie before overtime, but Drexel actually hit a buzzer beater before the half to give them momentum into the break. After the break, Drexel Dragons came out swinging, went up 43-44 after the break,
and JMU spent much of the second half battling back from the deficit. Eventually, JMU cut it to 2, but unfortunately, Drexel ended the game draining 11 of 12 from the free throw line and ending JMU's chance to win.
That's right.
Yeah, it's a tough loss. So we'll move on to Bridgewater basketball. Women's team, they didn't start off so hot. They lost their first 8 games, but they are 6-2 since November 26th. And they are shooting 35% from the field in the months of January and February. Coach Matthews has got her team in good shape. Assistant coach Reggie Blackman is on the second year of his staff after going 14-12 last year. Sarah Matthews enters her third season at the helm and made her ODAC playoffs in the first year. Interesting fact about Reggie Blackman. Blackman's cousin, Nolan Smith, won a national title while playing for Coach Krzyzewski at Duke in 2010, was also ACC Player of the Year in 2011, and he's also currently assistant coach at Duke and also coached the number 1 draft pick, Zion Williamson. To say the least, he is from a basketball family.
Oh, wow, that's interesting. I actually heard Zion was coming back soon. He should be playing sometime this week, I think.
I did see that next week or so, so that's good
that
for
should
the
be
game.
that should be interesting. Yeah, he's going to be great to watch. On to men's basketball. The Bleed Crimson game is this weekend, Saturday against Hampden Sydney, so all Eagles fans should come out and support for that. Brand new coach Steve Earnwright joins Bridgewater College after a year of absence.
Coach Enright is a graduate of Mount Ida College, a native of South Kingstown, Rhode Island. Enright previously served on Danny Hurley's staff, who's now at Arizona State, was the director of basketball operations up there at Rhode Island. During his 3-year stint before at Bridgewater as an assistant coach, Enright was very involved in recruiting. He recruited many players as upperclassmen, Chandler Murray, Davion Greer, T.J. Turner were a part of his Enright's first recruiting class as part of the college. Enright also worked with guards A.J. Horde, third leading scorer in the ODAC in the 2017-2018 season, along with Dimitri Chambers, the state ODAC Rookie of the Year in 2017-2018.
So I'm sure they'll be glad to have Coach Earnwright back on the staff. I'm actually good close friends with a couple of the basketball guys, and they seem pretty excited. I know they played a couple games while we were away at break. Now we're all back at school, so we get to all come out and support and watch them play.
That's awesome, yeah.
On to Bridgewater track and field.
Michael Lotz, Chase Rosenthal, and Felicia Clements all broke. 2 of them broke school records. Chase Rosenthal with personal record. Michael Lotz crushed the weight throw record with 17.48 meters, and Chase Rosenthal broke his personal record in the 60-meter hurdles with a time of 8.25. Felicia Clements broke set a new school record with a high jump of 1.67 meters. The men's team won the event with 178 points total, and the women's team finished second with 119 points total. The Eagles return to action next week at the VMI Cadet Invitational. So good, strong year so far for Bridgewater track and field. Came off a long season with. Women's team had a lot of injuries last year, and boys team did pretty well. So hopefully Coach Stevens and the rest of the crew's got the team in top order. Quick shout out to spring teams that are starting softball. I know they start soon. Women's lacrosse started this past week. They're looking to build off all right year last year, so we'll see what happens with that. Men's lacrosse team starts practice late January. Hopefully. Coach Grant's got his team in order, and they actually have a preseason All-American and Eric Hustleball, so we'll see what happens for them. They got a young team, but hopefully things are up from there.
That's good. I definitely wish the best to all the Bridgewater teams starting the season soon. Back to those track guys real quick. I just want to give a quick couple shout-outs. I mean, as I said, along with football, a lot of those guys are two-sport athletes, and they just work so hard, just going off from directly from football season, just jumping straight into track. A lot of those guys work really hard. So, Chase Rosenthal, who just finished a great football season, got great rewards, and then, he's continuing to do great with track. That's a big accomplishment. So shout out to all those track guys. Somebody we didn't mention, Rashawn Davis, he also did pretty good in the track meet. I read up on that. So, just to all the Eagle family, I just, wish everybody the best. Hope everybody's, continuing to prosper and be great.
Absolutely. And going back to Rosenthal real quick, kid is just what the school wants as an athlete. And
Freak
student.
athlete,
Yeah,
man. He's great.
Yeah, absolutely. Just tore up the secondary for us on our record-breaking run this year as a football team, and is now back out there on the track. So just kicking some butt. So hopefully he keeps it going as well as that team. Going back to Coach Enright with boys basketball team, what a guy that just has experience over the board and just has not really first head coaching win this year with Bridgewater. Has been a lot of places, a lot of experience, but I feel like that even in this first year he gets his guys in recruiting wise, and hopefully he can
especially
bring
with
it
that
back.
especially with that recruiting class situation, being that he already had a personal handle with a lot of those guys, that should definitely help out. I'm definitely looking forward to catching some games this season. As you mentioned, the Blue Crimson game is this weekend Saturday against Hampton-Sydney, so if we can get all the Eagles
Pack
out
the
there,
house, baby. Pack the freaking house.
definitely want to see everybody there, against Hampton-Sydney. Let's make a roar.
Oh, let's go. We got to freaking pack that thing and get that place rocking. Hardest place to play in college basketball, if you know what I mean.
For sure.
That's what I'm saying. All right, guys. Thank you very much for having us on. I'm Patrick Tiffey once again.
And I'm Mekhai
Great to
Whittaker.
have you guys.
And thank you very much. And God bless.
Thank you guys for being on the show. And that was Patrick Tiffey and Mekhai. Sorry, that was my bad. Mekhai. And that was great. I remember watching the JMU game. That was a rough one to watch. Throwing an interception at the very end, it was heartbreaking. I hated that. But enough with that. Next, we have Isaac Miller and we have Joe Caron for national news.
Good evening. We're going to talk about some of the main stuff going on, U.S. news, politics, kind of also stuff going on all over the world. We're going to get started with the impeachment of Trump. This is something that everyone's curious to know what's happening about. And if you want to talk a little bit about that, Isaac?
Yeah, so for those of you who don't know, the main source of the impeachment are accusations that Donald Trump conspired with Rudy Giuliani and some other members of his administration to try and get investigations about Joe Biden and his son and their involvement in a Ukrainian energy company, to get the Ukrainians to announce investigations for that in exchange for little over $390 million in military aid and a public visit at the White House for the president of Ukraine.
Yeah. So the legality of that is being discussed, and whether it's okay for a president to do it. Also like the ethics and like the morality of that. And so this is how it's going. Today, the House voted on a resolution appointing House impeachment managers, so people kind of overseeing the impeachment, and they voted whether to send the articles of impeachment onto the Senate or not, and they did. This just happened a couple hours ago in the House. They voted to send the articles to the Senate, so basically what that means is the trial is going to get started.
Yep. Trial will be underway, I believe next Tuesday is when it will start formally. There will be a vote on whether to have the trial tomorrow. They'll have that vote, and then Tuesday the trial itself will get underway.
Yeah. And they voted almost exactly along party lines, so meaning like it was almost exactly Republicans voted to not send it on, and Democrats voted to send it on, except for who's this guy, Colin Peterson?
Yeah, it'd be Colin Peterson of Minnesota. He being in Minnesota was one of the closer states in the 2016 election. So he voted no to those charges, but he was the only Democrat to cross party lines on that vote.
Yeah, not a whole lot of surprises there. And Trump's kind of reaction to the whole thing, he's mostly denying it. He heavily urged Senate to dismiss the charges outright because he didn't think they were valid at all. He thought it was all a hoax.
Yeah.
However, some of his basically everyone in the House and Senate, even staunch allies of Trump, they agree that maybe his legacy would benefit from a thorough investigation, like assuming everything goes well and he's found clear of charges.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, he's throughout his whole entire presidency, he's been, under investigation. So to come out of another one clean, that could certainly benefit his chances of getting reelected coming in 2020.
Yeah, I mean, if he has nothing to hide, it would like just completely accepting that there is an impeachment and like completely cooperating, that would show, hey, that would be putting all his chips on the table. I think that would be a good move for him, just to be honest about everything.
Yeah, of course. And, of course, there's also the other side of the coin. If he
Yeah.
did do it, then
I
this
mean,
is
like,
horrific
yeah.
stain,
yeah, that would not be good.
And by the odds looking right now, unless something drastic were to happen, odds are the Senate is going to find him not guilty of anything. He's going to continue to be the president for the rest of the year. So
Yeah.
there's always the chance something could go the other way, but as it's looked kind of from the start with Republicans holding the Senate, it's not great odds that this goes much further than just a trial.
Yes. Yeah. So moving on, some recent news, huge news. I thought it was kind of underreported. It was kind of understated. This plane crash in Iran.
Yes, and honestly, just everything that's gone on with Iran in the last 2 weeks has been crazy. So again, for those of you who don't know, the whole situation with Iran started a couple weeks ago. There was a missile attack on a base housing American troops and specifically an American contractor that was attacked by Iranian-backed rebels in Iraq, killed a contractor, and then a couple days later there was a drone strike on Iran's top general Qasem Soleimani outside of the Baghdad International Airport that killed him and the others in the car. This sparked kind of a bit of an international crisis. Ultimately culminated a few days later. The Iranians launched about 20 missiles on 2 American military bases. They were in Erbil and Assad, Iraq. There were no Americans killed, and as of now, it looks like hostilities are at least openly going to end for a time.
Yeah. Hostilities between America and Iran are definitely cooling down. Trump issued that message. It was kind of like vague, but I mean, he basically said, like, we won't tolerate, any more misconduct against America and its allies.
I think it's come to a point where both sides can be okay with this. The Americans got their strike back on the Iranians, and the Iranians got to strike back without Americans getting killed. It serves both sides got a strike in, and now they can let things simmer back off
it's
again,
not
avoid
pretty.
Full-scale war.
It's not pretty. It's definitely like not how you want to see. Like, it's definitely not the most diplomatic thing.
Oh, absolutely.
To happen.
Yeah.
But it looks like it's getting better. But then
back to that plane crash, though.
The plane crash happened.
Yeah. So this was the same day that the missile attack on the 2 Iraqi bases happened after the assassination of the general.
Mm-hmm.
This was the same day. All of the Iranian anti-air defense stations were all on high alert. And there was...
Understandably.
Yeah, of course, right,
Yeah.
with launching an attack like this. And there was a mistaken fire upon a Ukrainian passenger jet outside of Tehran, which is the capital of Iran. It shot the plane down, and unfortunately all 176 passengers on board were killed in the crash.
Yeah. Very, very sad news.
Oh, it is.
But there's still a lot of mystery surrounding this.
Yeah, initially, especially, the Iranians did not come out and say, hey, this was us, this was our bad.
Yeah, they waited 3 days before they claimed that the plane was shot down by the Iranian military.
Yeah. And unfortunately, this is especially for the Iranians, but 147 of the people on that plane were actually Iranian citizens.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, they ended up just killing a whole lot of their own people, but... Sometimes these mistakes are made.
Yeah. So moving on.
Coming back home a little bit.
A little bit closer.
Home, but not quite home. The string of recent earthquakes in Puerto Rico that has just been ravaging that island. It started the first initial quake. It's been a long string of quakes. The first initial one happened on December 28th of last year. Was a 4.8 magnitude. Since then, there have been over 500 aftershocks in the region, registering above a 2.0, with the largest of which being a 6.4 on January 7th.
So what's an aftershock?
So the
Explain
aftershocks.
to me, like, I've never heard the word aftershock.
Yeah, so essentially after you have an earthquake, of course an earthquake, it's the two earth plates usually along a fault. They'll move and crack, and when they move and crack like that, it releases the energy that causes the earthquake.
Okay.
When they do that, a lot of times it's still unstable afterwards, and so you can get more earthquakes coming afterwards of the things kind of settling back in.
Yeah.
They're usually smaller. So there have been a lot of these, and some of them, like I said, with the one that was a 6.4 on the 7th, were really large. That was actually the largest in this string to happen. There was a there was an earthquake that registered at least a 5 today in Puerto Rico as well. It was a 5.2. So that was another large earthquake happened there. It's just been a constant string. It's been battering them.
Yeah. Oh, and the largest one was a 6.4 Richter scale earthquake on
Yeah.
January 7th.
And unfortunately, that specific earthquake, just to kind of personify the damage that's been done kind of to the island through this, there was the largest power plant in Puerto Rico, which is the Costa Sur plant. Supplies 40% of the territory's electricity, was knocked out actually in this earthquake and damaged. Now, according to PREPA, which is the Puerto Rican power supplier, the power has been restored to 99% of people. However, that specific plant is looking like it's going to be offline for at least a year while they're going through repairs.
Yeah. So what does that mean for like kind of does that have like any economic implications for them or?
Oh, it absolutely could. Although the power is back, the government is urging everybody there to conserve power.
Okay.
Just because they're basically operating everything else on max capacity or near.
Yeah.
You know, because if you're losing 40% of your power production, it's almost half of the power your entire country makes.
Yeah.
And it's just gone. So it's certainly, especially with the country still recovering some from Hurricane Maria that happened in 2017.
Yeah.
It's just Puerto Rico has absolutely been ravaged by weather in the last few years, and I'm sure we all hope for a speedy recovery to them from these tragedies.
So do you think, with everything that's going on, like, you know, with the U.S. and all of our, all of the things that we're already giving resources to, do you think like we have enough resources to help with Puerto Rico, whether that be supplying them with power, food, anything?
Oh, absolutely. I think certainly supplying electricity on its own might be a different issue. I'm not an electrical engineer. I don't know power grids like that, so that's tough to say. But I think to put it simply, we're the largest economy in the world.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the money, there's only so much money you have, and it has to move from somewhere. But, I mean, I'm sure there's absolutely funds to be sent to Puerto Rico to help.
Yeah,
I think it should be one of our highest priorities.
I think a lot of people agree with that. I mean, it's easy to forget that Puerto Rico's they're not a foreign country. They're part of the U.S.
Right, and I think that is something a lot of people forget. You know, you think of it as just
Yeah.
another island in the Caribbean, but
Yeah, I
while
mean-
they're not a state, it's
They are removed from the mainland, but I mean, all the states in the mainland, we're the federal government, we're still responsible for helping them get back on their feet,
Yeah.
taking care of them.
because at the end of the day, they're still Americans.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, and definitely a lot of people will agree with that. One person, Andrew Cuomo, he's a New York governor.
Yeah.
He attacked Trump about our response.
Oh, did he?
He said once again the federal government hasn't shown up the way they should.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean this is moving fast.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's something that's tough with situations like this. Is like these disasters, especially an earthquake.
Yeah.
You really don't see it coming until it hits you.
It's unforeseeable that the earthquake would have destroyed the power plant and caused all that collateral damage of like the power outages and stuff.
Oh, right. There is some good news though for those of anybody in Puerto Rico.
Finally.
So the USGS has, as of yesterday afternoon, they predict there are 3 possible scenarios for Puerto Rico moving forward as far as further earthquakes. Right now they're saying there's an 81% chance that there's no further earthquakes that will be as large as the one that happened on January 7th, that was a 6.4 magnitude.
Yeah.
And that the frequency of the aftershocks will just decrease over the next 30 days. There's a 17% chance that another earthquake around a 6.4 magnitude will strike the island. The USGS actually refers to these as a doublet.
Doublet, okay.
Yeah, which two similar size earthquakes, I guess it makes some sense.
Yeah.
But of course, this would cause further damage in the area, and unfortunately, with having another larger sized earthquake, it serves to kind of increase the amount of time that you're going to be seeing aftershocks as things continue to shift around. Lastly, there is a 2% chance, and thankfully this is very, very low at 2%. 2% chance that the previous earthquakes are actually just the lead up to a much larger earthquake.
Okay.
Which of course would...
So, okay, it's unlikely that there will be any larger earthquakes going on.
Right, yeah, they're sitting at 2% chance right now, which is...
Yeah, I mean,
very low.
I would take those chances.
Yeah, absolutely. If I were betting on that, I would take it every day.
Well, yeah. All right, so moving over to Europe, we got Brexit. That's been going on for a very long time.
Brexit, yes.
And, you know, after a very lengthy process, I'm not entirely sure how their political system works or how they make these decisions, but they're going through with it, meaning Britain will no longer be a part of the European Union. They will be their separate nation.
Yep. Which Britain actually has kind of been a little different from most other EU countries over time, just because while they are part of the system, they actually, unlike a lot of countries, they don't use a euro. Because most European Union countries, they have
use
the
pounds, right?
Yeah, right. They still have the British pounds.
Yeah.
So they've always been a little bit of a, I don't want to say an odd child out, but they've liked to go their own way within the EU kind of as they've gone through since the beginning. But now, on January 31st, they will formally leave.
Yeah, and I know the reasons were mixed. You know, I think they had a lot of people immigrating, and they didn't necessarily have the room or the resources to accommodate you know, the increasing population.
Right.
You know, there's the thing with the euro that can create a lot of challenges with
just your economy overall. And I think a lot of it boils down to just the fact that most of the people, most because they passed it, but most of the people in Britain, they felt that their sense of a nation or sense of like their sovereignty being their own thing, they felt like being in the EU really impeded that more than a lot of other EU member countries have.
Okay.
So I think that sense of just wanting to not feel like you're being ruled over by another power, I guess, contributed a lot as well.
I mean, in terms of just like do you think that, I mean, you know, them going through with Brexit, becoming more kind of nationalistic, like to themselves, you think that's good for like the relationship with Europe and possibly the rest of the world?
Well, I think short term with Europe, it'll probably be a little rough just because they're now going to have to renegotiate pretty much every deal that was just set within the EU.
Yeah.
As a separate country now, they'll have to go through that process again, which I think at first is going to be a little tough.
Yeah, because I mean, I'm sure Britain was a very important part of the EU economy.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Britain's one of the larger economies in the world, so losing some of that tax base for the EU, that's certainly not going to be something easy for them. Plus, this whole process being drawn out over almost 4 years, you know, there's going to be a couple hurt feelings here or there in Brussels from that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and within Britain too. I mean,
absolutely.
It's not like it was a landslide in either direction.
No, that was.
It was close. So there's
close.
a lot of people in Britain who didn't want this to happen, and they probably have family members, friends around Europe, a lot of connections to other countries in the European Union. It'll be tough for them to figure out, you know, the new way things are working.
Yeah, where things are gonna go. It's definitely a lot of uncertainty for their future, for sure.
I know, like, traveling within Europe it's like if you're in France, it's like you drive 3 hours and you're in, I don't know, Germany.
Right, and there's no border crossing. There's no check. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to show anybody a passport. You just drive through like you're driving through states in the U.S.
Yeah. No, I mean, obviously, traveling from Britain to the mainland was different because it's like you take a boat and everything. But now, I mean, it'll be different. It'll be like going from Mexico to the U.S. or the other way around.
Mm-hmm.
So, there would be more hoops to jump through.
Yeah, absolutely, and that was one of the biggest actually contentions with Brexit was the issue that they refer to as the Irish backstop, which the island of Ireland is split between the Republic of Ireland, and then there's that small northern section on the top of it. It's Northern Ireland. That's part of Britain.
Yeah.
And of course, with the Ireland's, we'll say, troubled history
Okay.
in the last half century or so regarding independence and things like that.
Yeah.
There's been it was a very contentious issue that there would be a hard immigration check on that border between the Republic of Ireland and Northern Ireland, because the people there, they thought they were Irish.
So there has been tough border issues going on.
Well, that's one of the concerns.
Okay.
Right now it's just like you with the example of France and Germany, it's just like that.
Okay.
Just driving over.
It's pretty easy.
Yeah. But if things were to be where these are two separate entities now, entirely separated from the EU, then it's going to be more, like you gave with the example of the U.S. and Mexico, it could be more like that, depending on how the Irish and the British are able to come to any agreement.
Okay, so will Northern Ireland be part of Britain, or will they be part of the EU?
It will still be part of Britain.
Okay.
Yeah. The Republic of Ireland.
It's like their territory.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
It's like just an extension of British or Great Britain, their territory. But yeah, the Republic of Ireland is going to stay in the EU.
Yeah.
And remain a separate nation, and then of course they'll have to deal with all of that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's also interesting how, the United Kingdom is, I believe it's Scotland, Britain, and Ireland.
Yeah, Scotland, Britain, Northern Ireland, Scotland, England, Northern Ireland, and Wales.
Yeah.
Which three of those, Wales, Scotland, and England, for those of you who don't know, are all attached on the British island, and then Northern Ireland is part of Ireland. There's actually, as well, there's been a lot, as there was the vote on the Scottish seceding from Great Britain a few years back.
Yeah.
And especially now because many Scots, they particularly vote with the Scottish National Party, which is pro-Europe, pro-European Union. So there have been some thoughts rumbling around that potentially this could be something where we see another referendum for Scotland trying to leave Great Britain entirely so it can remain part of the EU.
Wow.
So this will definitely be a troubling few years for Great Britain coming up.
And I we haven't been clear, I think, this whole time talking about this. I should have mentioned this earlier, but when we're saying Britain, we're referring to the UK. Okay, and the UK it's actually, it's England, it's Ireland, and it's Scotland. So all three of those countries grouped together are leaving the EU as a result of Brexit.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting to see how those different countries will adapt and respond to a very huge change in livelihoods, especially in a continent like Europe that's, very, I guess tight-knit relative to other continents.
Oh, yeah, especially now with the EU. That was one of the great things. It's like, because before you had all this separation between Europe, where it was independent countries fighting each other. That's how we got, World War I, World War II.
Yeah.
But with the EU, there was kind of starting to be this growing sense of kind of
I mean, I know there hasn't been a World War in a while, so
yeah,
we've been working.
Been doing pretty good so far, right?
Anyway, that's all from Isaac and I tonight on news. Good night, Bridgewater.
You guys stay safe and enjoy the rest of the show.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Isaac Miller and Joe Caron, just for the national news. I know there's a lot going on, especially in our country with the impeachment and especially like with those earthquakes in Puerto Rico. No one saw that. You can't expect for that. But next up, we have national sports with Brandon Wells and Mo Kamara. What's up, guys? How's it going?
Hello, Zach. Thank you very much for the introduction.
My man Zach.
No problem, man.
Here with my man Mo, and we're talking about national sports.
Quick shout out my guy Zach. It's his first show. Zach is a close to home dude. Went to my high school. Shout out Edison High School.
Shout out Edison.
Shout out my man Zach. But yeah, let's continue.
Doing a great job today, Zach. Thank you very much.
Thanks,
And
really
first thing we got here on the
Sport.
table, national sports.
I see. We'll start it off since they're not in season. A lot of, how would you describe it? Controversy. That's the word I'm looking for in the MLB. With, of course, the Astros being found out their cheating scandal discovered. You want to reiterate on that?
So the Houston Astros, who lost the World Series to the Washington Nationals, for anyone who lives under a rock, in an amazing World Series. So the Astros were just punished for a sign stealing scandal where they were caught stealing the signs from the players. General manager Jeff Luhnow and manager AJ Hinch, I think I said those right. They were both suspended for the entirety of the 2020 season, plus a $5 million fine and 4 draft picks over the next 2 years. Mo, do you think that's a little excessive? I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
I'm going to be honest. I don't. I mean, if we look at it, I seen the take earlier. It was some sports ESPN correspondent saying how baseball has had a long history of cheating in the game, but it's some aspects that are part of the game, some aspects that cross the line. And if it gets to the point where you're ever using technology, in this case cameras, to try and pick up on what kind of pitch the pitcher is gonna throw, guess what's next in his rotation. I mean, that's just an unfair advantage. They can't go like that. So I mean,
I think this is a very interesting case because most professional sports leagues don't really implement penalties that severe for a lot of scandals like this. It seems like they like to shy away from it more than they like to go towards it. So I actually think this is a game changer move for the MLB to make that could possibly lead to other leagues like the NFL and NBA, for example, to implement more severe penalties like they should. There are so many franchises out there. You have New Orleans with Deflategate, New England with Spygate, just a whole bunch of scandals in the NFL that just seem to be a slap on the wrist, walk away, and continue your job type thing. And the MLB here at the Astros, I think, is making a statement, hey, this isn't okay.
I think they made such a big deal about it because this team literally just won coming off a championship. So, we're thinking about, they won beginning of 2019. They're the year before the Nationals, go Nats, of course. But another thing that stood out, the Red Sox manager, Alex Caro, who was a part of that 2018-2019 Astros winning team, he was their manager at the time. He was fired he agreed to mutually part ways with the management of the Red Sox after coming clean to them, saying that he was behind or he had played a major part in just the founding of that little stealing scandal. So we'll see what comes from here. It's probably going to be the beginning of a lot of firings, maybe in the MLB world, a lot of hirings. But we'll pay close attention and we'll see how that goes.
A lot of this is also new breaking information, so we can probably still see a lot more developments on this
You're not lying.
story going forward, and it's going to be pretty interesting to see exactly how much the league might change and how many teams are going to suffer due to one situation with one team. Could hurt more than just the Astros. It's already hurt the Red Sox, which
100%.
weren't even involved.
So we're just gonna pay attention to baseball, but spinning blocks, sport close to me. I played them my whole life. That basketball, good old basketball. So we got the Lakers still at the top of the league with the league best record 33-7 in the West, and Milwaukee with a 36-6 in the East. Both teams have been taking off. I mean, Giannis coming off his MVP season has been spectacular. Of course, he's incorporated outside shot for the most part to his game, but it's some sleepers in the league that kind of giving me some. I see Boston's up in second place with 27-11, and Miami surprisingly in third with Toronto in the fourth, and Philly dropped down to sixth after Joel injury. But some surprising teams. I mean, Miami got a really young squad that's looking real good. They got some pieces. They got the rookie Kendrick Nunn playing way above what was expected. Tyler Herro's been great. Bam Adebayo showing the potential to be a future all-star big for the league. So they still have Jimmy Butler, of course, Goran Dragic. So Miami got some pieces, but for the East, I don't really think it will really have enough in the playoff time to get over Milwaukee and all of their pieces, because Milwaukee
Most interesting thing I see here is that the West is a lot more competitive this year than the East. Like, the gap between the good and the bad teams in the East is insane.
Yeah.
But in the West, it's not so much. Most of them are competitors. They are real teams. But the East, I mean, you have a couple great teams. I mean, the Bucks, incredible job so far this season.
But aside from Milwaukee, Philly, and maybe Boston or Miami, those are the only real choice. Like, if I give you the teams on the records of the last 4 teams in the East There's here we go. We got Atlanta at 9-32. Let's be honest. If you lose 32 games out of 41, I would quit the team. Of course, the New York Knicks are 11-30. So I mean, they're the Knicks though. So we don't expect too much. Cleveland, I can understand Cleveland being 12-29. You know, after LeBron era, they're gonna have to rebuild a little bit. The Washington Wizards, it hurts me. Oof. It really hurts. 13-26. But hey, they're coming off some better play. They've been averaging about like 125 points the last couple of games, and hopefully John Wall will be back, and we'll see. But yeah, the NBA is just really riveting at the moment. Tonight they have Houston taking on Portland Trailblazers. Portland's been very disappointing this season. They're currently 10th in the West at 17-24. Even though they added Hassan Whiteside, a all-star center from Miami, you know, Melo's been averaging about 20 points a game. So, you know, he came back and he's done his thing. It's great for the league to see Carmelo back at his thing. But, yeah, heading into the all-star break, the NBA is going to continue to be on my television.
I mean, it's an interesting season so far this year. We've seen a lot of big craziness, but I mean, think the eyes right now, this upcoming week, they're on Zion. Mm-hmm. He's coming back, or coming to his first game ever. Is
technically yesterday actually I seen it myself. I got the alert. They said that he would be back tomorrow when they were playing the Utah Jazz, but after practice day, he was fine, and he still they just wanted him to. The team president David Griffiths said that. They want Zion to go through some more rigorous practices again. So his next expected date for return is the 22nd when they're playing the Spurs, which I think is a smart move because they're playing obviously a weaker team and a team with not really a post presence. So that just gives Zion more incentive to just go crazy on his first night back.
He has a lot to prove. He's on a team that is in a very good position to compete in the postseason, and a playmaker that it was projected to play as good as Zion was, could completely change the Jazz. I mean, they're already a great team, but I mean, he can make them a top 3 team easily with that. I mean, competition.
So, the NBA will definitely be paying attention to it, but as we all know, a real man's sport, where we want to get to, the nitty-gritty, the NFL, the National Football League. So, coming from this last week of the playoffs, the divisional round, we had the Ravens. I mean, they saw the Tennessee Titans.
Big boys knocked off.
What'd you see, man?
I've been saying it all season long. This Titans team is a team that if they get hot at the right time, they're the best team in the league, and they're getting hot at the right time. And look out, Derrick Henry is making his case for the best running back in the league. I mean, you can make an argument. Him, Christian McCaffrey, Dalvin Cook.
He did have the rushing title this season.
He did. He had the rushing title. We saw it last season as well. Henry was kind of quiet the first half of the year. Exploded the second half.
Up.
And same thing here, second half of the season. Now he's unstoppable. 200 yards per game in the postseason. That's insane.
And the playoffs are when, running the game slows down, running the ball really takes into effective. But
this team turned around once Ryan Tannehill took under center.
Yeah.
It's not even that he's playing out of his mind. He's playing good enough.
I'm going to be real honest, man. I feel bad for Marcus Mariota.
He's still a good player.
He's still a good player, but he needs to get out of there. But if we get him out, where's he going to go? Maybe Jacksonville. Chicago said they were going to go with Mitch Trubisky again. So, I mean, I really don't understand what they're doing over there. But maybe if they brought him in as a backup, to push him, that, hey, if Trubisky doesn't work out, you have at least somebody who's capable of being an NFL starting quarterback. But he definitely needs to get out of Tennessee because I say it's Ryan Tannehill's team. And this could be the year of the Titans. Who knows? We'll see. They have Kansas City at 3 o'clock on Sunday in Kansas City. What are your predictions?
I mean, my Super Bowl predictions this whole season has been Green Bay over the Chiefs in a Super Bowl I rematch for the NFL's 100th anniversary. I think that Kansas City is a very solid team, but, I mean, not often you're going to see a 6 seed be the favorites over a team that had home field advantage. I mean, most people aren't going to pick Tennessee, but that doesn't mean they're not a viable pick.
I mean, if we're being honest, Tennessee really has the combination and the right formula to beat Kansas City, because Kansas City run defense is actually ranked in the bottom half of the league, and when their only loss, I believe they had 3 losses. They went 13-3 this season, around that. The only losses are games where they were rushed on for over 150 yards. So the formula to beat Kansas City is to score with them or run the ball on them.
I think this is...
And Tennessee has a run game. So it's gonna be a shootout. Hopefully it'll be an exciting game.
This game definitely has the likings for over 100 total points scored. I could very well see both. I could see Derrick Henry go off for 300 rushing yards, and I could see Mahomes pass for 8 touchdowns and break the record. Like, I could see it being one of those type of games, just an insane fiesta. And I mean, if this game plays out anything like the rest of the playoffs have, the wild card weekend, best playoff weekend
I'm
of
really
all
trying
time.
to see that Tyrann Mathieu as a safety coming up in the hole. Do you really want to make that business decision and meet the 6'4", 240, I believe? Yep, 240. Derrick Henry coming at you in the cold.
I mean, a safety can't stand up to a running back quite like Derrick Henry. Tyrann Mathieu's a great player, but I wouldn't necessarily consider him,
this is a quote from
square to square
Tyrann
with
Mathieu.
Derrick Henry.
Bleacher Report. He told Bleacher Report that when they played him early in the season, he thought he broke his jaw on a tackle when he hit Henry. He's saying he compared that to hitting him like hitting a solid rock. So we're gonna see how they're gonna handle him.
He might as well be a solid rock with wheels. He's killing it.
Yeah, he doesn't go down. I really thought the Ravens was gonna be able to. That game really surprised me. I just want to take a minute, because regardless, Lamar had an MVP season, incredible numbers. They just tore through the league the regular season, but like I said, I mean, in the playoffs, the game slows down. Running is important, and it's really coaching is a big part of it. And the Tennessee Titans, who had just come off a win in Foxborough, and the team hasn't come into Foxborough and beat the Patriots since who knows when. I don't even know if I was alive before that, but it might be in the 90s or something. But yeah,
2001,
maybe.
Yeah,
maybe caught it when I was like 2, but yeah.
Moving on to the NFC, though.
Man.
Sleeper team all year long. I don't know why it's been both 49ers and Green Bay. I feel like they've been sleeper teams
49ers
this
are a sleeper?
As good as their records are, yes, I think that they've been sleepers. I think that there's a lot of other teams around the league that has gotten a lot more buzz than the 49ers have. This is still a quietly great team, even with the number 1 seed.
Yep, Jimmy Garoppolo, they got some pieces. George Kittle, I say he makes the case for the next Gronk, top tight end in the league. He's the best blocking tight end, great hands.
Him and Travis Kelce.
Another real problem with the 49ers, they have the 4th-ranked offense, the 2nd-ranked defense. So, really, how do you beat them? The goal, you have to outscore them.
You know what you got to beat them? Out-coach them. We saw this before when Kyle Shanahan was the head coach of the Atlanta Falcons. That's when they crumbled when they had the 25-point lead in the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. And now he's here again, big-time situations. I'm not a Kyle Shanahan believer. Mm-hmm. I think he's going to make mistakes, and the way you beat the 49ers, you have to out-coach them. And Green Bay's rookie coach is coach of the year. Matt LaFleur killing it with the Packers this year. He's doing what Mike McCarthy couldn't. He's leading his team to a potential Super Bowl.
He's proven to be Aaron Rodgers, Sue Souther. But regardless, I'm still taking the 49ers over the Green Bay because for the real fact that defense doesn't lie and running wins the game. And they have a 3-headed machine in the backfield. They have Tevin Coleman, Matt Breida, and Mostert. And all 3 of those guys usually run for about combined 200 with
Packers,
passing and catching. So
the Packers have
they just come in waves. There's really nothing you can do. Like their 1, 2, and 3rd string can all take it.
I think Rodgers, Adams, and Jones is the next.
But that's very slept on.
Brown. Yeah,
Devontae Adams, his reemergence has been great. But, we're looking forward to a great week. We'll all be tuned into our TVs. So,
Real quick, before we head off for the next segment, Super Bowl predictions. Got to always in with that. Who you got?
Man, I'm going to keep it. I'm just be honest. I'm going 49ers, Titans. In the year of the Titans, the Tennessee Titans will upset the San Francisco 49ers.
Wow.
And the score will be 24-27. Titans.
24-27, but you heard it right here first. That's crazy. One more question. Joe Burrow or Chase Young if you're a Bengal?
Oh, yeah. They have to take Joe Burrow because I'm a Redskin. And Chase Young is coming home.
Chase Young's got to go
He's going to be with his quarterback. He's going to be with his receivers, his teammates. It's an Ohio State reunion in the Washington Redskins franchise and Redskins Super Bowl 54.
And before we head off, one more thing. Quick news updates around the league. Cleveland hired former Vikings offensive coordinator Kevin Stefanski as their head coach. Antonio Gates, after 16 years in the NFL, is finally retired. Great definitely
career,
first
definitely
Hall of Famer.
Yep.
And out of left field, I predicted this, but I don't think anyone else in the world did. Luke Kuechly retired.
Yeah, I seen the message. It was sad, but look, shock of the day. Last shock of the day. Jason Garrett to the Giants as their offensive coordinator. David Gettleman is a joke.
It's not official. I don't know. I think you got to shy away from that. Don't sign
Just
the
for
man.
it leaking, David Gettleman is a joke.
Gettleman is right up there with Dan Snyder. Incompetent.
Don't speak that man's name on air.
All right, fellas, we got to hang off. Thank you for joining us here on National
Man,
Sports.
thank you for listening.
Thanks, guys. That was Brandon Wells, and that was Mo Kamara. And just saying, Mo, we went to the same high school. I remember playing football together. That was fun times. I'm with there with the Titans. I feel like the Titans are going to win it all. Just saying. But next up, we have entertainment. We have Ayinde Roberts, and we have Cheylyn Grant. Hey, guys, how's it going?
Hey, how's everybody doing tonight? I'm really excited to talk about some entertainment news.
Yes.
So, big weekend happened not too long ago. We had the Golden Globe Awards, and there's a lot of really surprising winners, a lot of winners that maybe people didn't call, some that were absolutely obvious. We're just going to talk about a couple of them. Let's get the big one out of the way.
Yes.
The one everyone knew was going to happen. Joaquin Phoenix winning for Best Performance in an Actor in Motion Picture for his portrayal of Arthur Fleck, a.k.a. the Joker. Cheylyn, what do you think?
Well, I actually watched Joker for the first time last night with you, and I've heard a lot of good things about Joaquin Phoenix's performance, but I've also heard some bad things too. I've heard that some people saw the Joker as like a sympathetic ploy for mental illness and for mental instability and kind of excuse that behavior for this. But on the other hand, I've heard that he portrays psychological damage so well, and I would have to agree with the latter. He really does. He really portrays someone that is mentally ill, and if you haven't seen the movie, I would recommend to go and watch it. There are scenes when he's just chuckling and he has uncontrollable laughter instead of crying, and there's this one scene where he's writing down how to do comedy because he genuinely doesn't understand how to make people laugh, and he imitates others.
Yeah, I've been praising this man's performance. I think he is a shoe-in for the Oscar this year. Joaquin Phoenix, man, we all knew when we saw the first trailer that he was going to be something special. That this portrayal of the Harlequin of hate is going to be something that we've never seen before. But I don't think anybody expected it to be this good. I remember there's so many scenes I can pick apart where it's not like the scene would have been okay, but Joaquin Phoenix's like his mannerisms, you can see the scale, like the way that Arthur Fleck from the beginning of the film, he's sort of like his walk is sort of one of like he's depleted. He doesn't really necessarily believe that he's gonna get anywhere. He's trying his best, but life is just beating him down to where you get to a point in the movie where he is strutting, he's dancing down the steps, he's doing dances and everything. You see that shift of character, and I don't think anybody could have pulled that off but him. So good on him for Joker, for winning that for the film. Other awards for film, Sam Mendes winning for Best Director for 1917, and 1917 winning Best Picture. I think that's pretty fair. For Best Performance by an Actress in a Television Series, I know you brought this up. Phoebe Waller from the show Bridge. Why don't you talk about that?
So her name is actually Phoebe Waller-Bridge, and she's from the show Fleabag.
My bad.
No, it's okay. But she is so funny. In Fleabag, she portrays this really socially awkward character, and you can see the portrayal of just what it's really like to deal with a socially awkward moment and trying to be funny and play it out with comedy, and she does such a good job with that, and it feels so real. And there are moments when she looks back at the camera and you just feel like you're right there with her, and honestly, I could say that she's genuinely funny. It takes a lot for me personally, at least, to laugh during television and to laugh during movies, but with her character, it's immediate. It's an immediate connection of comedy. I would recommend that show to anybody.
I think it's always really good for an actor who can sort of toe the line between like someone who's funny, who's really good at like in those awkward-ish situations, but also have some more weight and sort of this realism to a character, whoever they're portraying. It's always really good when an actor can be able to do things like that and make it come off as seamless and not feeling like the awkward comedy is forced or the realism is just not as realistic as everyone thinks it should be. So I mean, kudos to her. I think it's a fair win, and I couldn't see anybody else in that category that could have won. But I know I've been thinking about this a lot. A lot of actors got snubbed this year, though.
Yes.
This year was so good for movies that it's impossible for you to pick who the best of the year is, because there's so many. I can think of one off the top of my head. Best actor, listen, I love Joaquin Phoenix. I think he would have won that one award hands down. But why wasn't Adam Sandler nominated for Uncut Gems? That is a travesty. Listen, I have been on Adam Sandler's case for a long time because I think the dude is funny. I have seen him do funny things.
Funny.
The Wedding Singer is like one of my favorite films by him, but for so long he's been doing a lot of these lowbrow humor kind of films, like Grown Ups 2. Like, yeah, when you watch them, they're funny-ish, but it's the slapstick that's not as funny. It's not like genuine written comedy. That's like something he wrote that's funny. It's the situations themselves. He doesn't really do like a lot of heavy acting, like a Steve Carell or a Will Ferrell or anything like that. But man, talk about a stunning performance by him in Uncut Gems. If you haven't seen Uncut Gems, it's coming to Netflix soon. Should be, I think, in 2 weeks or so. But you should definitely check it out if it's not already on there. If it's not already on there, go check it out. Like, seriously, it's really good. And I know another one that we both agree with.
Oh my gosh. Jennifer Lopez and Hustlers. Hustlers is a movie about strippers and how they make their money, and they kind of finesse men along the way. But Jennifer Lopez put so much work and time into this role. She has a YouTube channel. I don't know if you all know that, but she does. And she filmed her journey in learning how to strip and taking on her character as Ramona. She kind of has this maternal character over the main character. And she is just so, excuse my language, badass. That's the only way to describe her character. Jennifer Lopez was really able to put on such a good performance in this movie compared to her other roles. At least, I don't know if you all have seen Selena with her in it, and there are a couple of other movies which I can't really think of that she's been in. However, I think this is one of her better roles. This really felt real, and it kind of was motivating in a sense as well. I've seen other critical acclaims of this movie, and people have really said that Jennifer Lopez demolished this in the best way possible.
What's so great about Lopez's performance in this film was that her command of every scene that she's in. We talked about this in a podcast that I have done called Cinema Talk. You should check out on the BC Voice YouTube channel. Jennifer Lopez commands every single scene she is in. Once she's on screen, it is all about her. There are points where I was like, I don't even know if she's acting. And that's crazy. That's crazy. Great actors can do that. And let's remind ourselves, Jennifer Lopez hasn't been in a lot of movies that are, well, good. Like, the last movie I remember watching of hers was The Boy Next Door. That movie's bad. That movie's really bad. And so you're not. So when I heard this movie was coming, I was like, man, this is about to be another trash movie. I'm gonna watch it anyway because I gotta watch it, like, because I'm a film person. And I watched the film. I was like, wow, this movie's good. And wow, J-Lo was really good.
Yeah.
And so there's so much to happen on the Golden Globes. There's so much to talk about, including a very, very controversial opening monologue by comedian Ricky Gervais. And he came after everyone. He called out big corporations like Disney and Apple. He called out everybody for the whole Jeffrey Epstein thing, which...
Wow.
Quick side note, he definitely didn't kill himself.
He did not kill himself. There's no way he
agree.
killed himself. And it's insane because I was looking up what happened, and the two guards who were on rounds that night, they didn't do their rounds. And when they found him dead, they told their higher up that they made a mistake because they didn't do their rounds.
And it was so bold of Gervais to call them out. You could hear the audible boos when he says something about that. And his response was, "Listen, I know he was your friend, but come on, you have to admit." Man went crazy that night. And I believe this was on the same night as the trial for Harvey Weinstein.
It was. Mm-hmm.
So it says a lot about the film the state of film now, where it's so controversial for you to come out and talk and call Hollywood out for its malpractices and things that things are sweeping under the rug, all the under the table things, and a lot of praising big corporations. And listen, I love me some Disney. I love the Marvel movies, and
Love
I
the
like
Disney princesses.
I love Star Wars, but yeah, they basically have a monopoly on on Hollywood right now. They're making like, excuse me, like there's 40% of movies nowadays are owned by Disney, and that's insane.
Wow.
They could also get Sony soon, pretty soon.
Like who knows what's next? And now everyone wants to be the next Disney. It's like Disney has Disney Plus. Warner Brothers is starting its own streaming service. Starz is doing its own streaming service. HBO's had HBO Go for a while now, but like they're gonna go with HBO Max, which is gonna be their streaming service. Like everyone's trying to really bank off of the success of Disney, who's banking off of the success of like Netflix and Hulu. And I think because of Disney's goodwill and like, when was the last time Disney made a really, really, really bad movie? Like, there are movies that are okay, but when was the last time Disney made a really bad movie? I think that's why everyone's like, oh, Disney this, Disney that. And, kudos to Gervais for calling that out. Because I think if somebody had to, and why not do it? Because there's no way he was going to be able to get away with it on the biggest movie awards stage, which would be the Academy Awards, which will be in February. There's no way he was going to. So why not the second best? I mean, applause to him. Like,
yeah, I think that's really good that he did that, especially because of this. I wouldn't want to say a culture, but it's a trend of just non-confrontation. Things are, like you said, swept completely under the rug. Nothing's talked about. And the fact that he brought this to light at this event, because in the past, the Golden Globes have been a showcase to confront issues, but in a more passive manner. For example, like with the wardrobe, the past themes of the wardrobe have been sponsored by the Me Too movement and Time's Up. However, this time there was no mention of that until Ricky Gervais spoke about it at the Golden Globes.
And so, like we were just saying, like all of the Golden Globes, the BAFTAs, Critics' Choice Awards, all leading up to the Oscars. So there's a couple of awards that I want to go ahead and call right now. Best Picture and Best Director are going to share just like this, like the Golden Globes is going to go to 1917 and Sam Mendes. Best Actor, shoe-in Joaquin Phoenix, as I've said before. Best Actress, I want Scarlett Johansson to win this. She deserves it. A Marriage Story is fantastic. And, she has Black Widow coming out, and what better way to achieve more goodwill for that film than to put an award on at the end of Scarlett Johansson's name. And here's another award that I think people don't really consider, but because there's no nominations for this award. It's the Irving G. Thalberg Memorial Award. It's the award that's given to producers whose bodies of work reflect a consistently high quality of motion picture production. There is one name that I would want this award to go to, and that is Kevin Feige. He deserves this award. 2018, Kathleen Kennedy won the award, and she's, if you don't know who Kathleen Kennedy is, she's the one behind Star Wars. There is no producer that deserves that award for a body of work that has been consistently high quality than Kevin Feige. What he's done with the Marvel Cinematic Universe has been unlike anything that we have ever seen before.
I agree.
But that's all the time that we've got. That's a lot of entertainment to digest. Please go ahead and check out the Oscars and the BAFTAs, which are actually coming out, I think, the next week, and then Oscars will be in February. Thank you guys for having us.
Thanks for listening to this part of the
All right,
segment.
Zach.
All right. Thank you, Ayinde and Cheylyn. Sorry, I mispronounced that. Yeah, that was, I don't know, that I remember watching that and just being baffled. That was crazy. But now, here we go. We have Squawk Talk, and we have my own brother, Justin Rogers, and Holden Andrews. What's up, guys?
Hey, what's up, Zach? And hello, everyone else. You know what time it is. It is time for Squawk Talk with me and Holden. Holden, how you doing today, my guy?
I'm doing great. It's first Squawk Talk of the year, and I just gotta say, that was the cutest introduction we've had so far. Brother and brother. That's just wholesome content right there.
Oh, yeah, Zach doing a great job at host, aren't you, Zach?
I'm doing all right, but, it's all right.
Oh, it's all good. But guess what, though? It's Squawk Talk time. That means two wacky guys talking about some wacky stuff. And today, we're going to get into our favorite music for me and Holden. But before we get into our favorite stuff, we're going to have a little bit of debate here on what's better. So before the segment today, me and Holden were talking a little bit about what we listen to our music on. Holden, you said you listen on Spotify, and I listen on Apple Music. So give a little bit of why you listen on Spotify, a little bit of your backstory, and why you like Spotify.
First off, I gotta start with there is no debate here. There is absolutely no debate because Spotify is where it is at. Spotify gives you so much other stuff, and you can't beat the student deal.
This is true.
But going back into my music history, I was an Apple Music guy before it was actually Apple Music. Back when you had to download each song
iTunes
on
and all that
iTunes,
stuff.
and I loved getting those iTunes gift cards. But
dude, yes.
Well, I guess I started Spotify my senior year of high school, and it's just been this love affair ever since because you can download music, you can make your own playlist, you can do all sorts of stuff, and for only I believe it's $4.99 with the student deal.
That's crazy.
You get all the most music you want. You get Hulu, you get Showtime, and there's something else. They keep adding stuff all the time. It's just you cannot beat that deal.
Quick question.
Shoot.
After you graduate, are you still going to pay for Spotify since you won't have the student deal anymore? Is it worth it?
It's 100% worth it.
Okay. I can see it. I can see it.
Now, why do you go with Apple Music?
All right, so there's a little bit of a background. So I did Spotify first, so it's pretty much like opposite of you. I've done Spotify since 2014, so I don't remember when that was. I'm an old person, so it was 6 years ago. So which is funny because the other day I was looking at like my Spotify account and like my really old playlist from like 2014. I was like, I listened to this music? What the heck? So I did Spotify for a while, but then I was just doing like the free trials and stuff. For a while, Spotify only had the 1 month trial. And Apple Music had a 3 month trial. So I thought, okay, I might as well get something for free for longer. And then I just stuck with Apple Music mostly because I was lazy and I just didn't want to like go towards anything else. But I will say like Spotify, like you get all the extra stuff. That's fantastic. But for me as a college student, like I don't need all that extra stuff. I don't need to be watching Hulu or anything like that because I got a PDP paper I need to be writing. So
you get that done.
Yeah, but let's get into our favorite music. So before we get into like our favorite artists or anything like that, let's start with our favorite types of music.
Wow.
So if you could choose the kind of music and maybe start like at the beginning when you start listening to music, like maybe like high school, a little bit of early college, and then kind of like the type of music you listen to now.
I think I'm gonna take that back even further. My music taste at first it was, really. I was really influenced by my parents, so
yes.
I remember going to school in the 4th grade. My mom would take me because it was on her way to work, and we would listen to Kings of Leon or Jack's Mannequin, band, like kind of like I don't know, alt pop, alt rock, really good, really gritty almost, and and then further on, my dad, he's a middle school PE teacher, so he would take us to school pretty much then on out till we could drive, but we listened to so much Margaritaville. I think Van Morrison. I think I know every single Jimmy Buffett song in existence. I mean, and the dances to all of them too. You got the fins to the left, fins to the right, all of that. And
so you got the whole experience.
The entire.
Oh my gosh.
And I don't know if people don't believe me now, but when I say I listen to every genre of music, I listen to every genre of music.
So you don't despise any genre of music at all? If there's one genre of music you could say, like, that's not the first thing I would pick, it would definitely be the last thing I'd pick, what would you say?
Screamo music.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean...
Does that count?
Yes, I think it counts because, like, I don't think a whole lot of people listen to that kind of
Can't
stuff.
Be.
But,
yeah,
I mean,
so... if you send me a song, as long as it's not Screamo music, I will listen to it. And if it is Screamo music, send it to me anyway.
Exactly. You could change your mind.
I could.
It
and
could
I want
be
our
going a
listeners
different
to test
direction.
me.
You never know.
You're right.
You never know.
Right. But anyway, I listen to, like I said, everything, anything. I love music. I love sound. I love all of that. But, what about you? What kind of types of music do you listen to?
So, my dad's a pastor. So I grew up in the church. So I grew up on a lot of worship music, a lot of Christian-based music when I was growing up. But also, so for those of you who don't know, I'm a percussionist.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a drummer, play drum set for the jazz band. Shout out to the BC Jazz Band. We got a couple concerts coming up, so please come out to our concerts. You know, see one of your very own from Squawk Talk play on drum set.
Yes, sir.
Just a quick little
Yes,
plug
sir.
there. Quick little plug there. But yeah, so I played drum set, and so when I grew up, I loved rock music, because that's just what all drummers like. At least what I grew up on. So like, I mean. Okay, I'm already going into what I listen to, but Foo Fighters, I loved Foo Fighters growing up. I grew up on that stuff, but also like even like Christian rock kind of stuff. If you ever like listen to like Red or Skillet or even Switchfoot, like those kind of groups, those are the kind of like pop rock that I listened to like back in the day. And so, but a lot of like very like Christian worship music, I still listen to that. It's still like my favorite type of music. But now I when I grew up in high school and even like early college, I hated rap. I hated it with a passion. Basically because of what it sounded like. But then like nowadays I listen more to the words than anything for music, and now I love rap, dude.
All rap, mainstream rap, all of it?
Not all of it, but just again, I just listen to the lyrics. The lyrics are good and they're healthy and they're good for me to listen to. Then I'm gonna listen to it.
Yeah.
But if there's anything I will not listen to, I think Screamo's on that list. I will not listen to country whatsoever.
No.
Seriously?
Thank you, brother. I am so happy you're with me on that.
All right, this is skewed. These are skewed results right here.
What are
Y'all
you
are
talking
family.
about?
Does not count.
No, it definitely counts. Country to me, like granted, like some country songs are great. I will sit for like lyrics and stuff, but I just have a stereotype against them. Like I just don't like the songs, and it's just just hearing the country type music just puts me off. I have to like go and retreat into my own music just to cleanse myself.
You know what's funny about that is 5 minutes ago, literally 5 minutes ago, I just sent my friend "This Bar" by Morgan Wallen. Great country song. But I do have a quick question.
Okay.
Give me your top 3 rappers.
Top 3 rappers. Wow. So I think number 1 right now, Andy Mineo. I love Andy Mineo. I listen to a lot of Christian rap. I don't listen to anything outside of Christian rap.
Gotcha.
Again, just because of the message. I don't like a lot of the message that's about just like money is everything, sex is everything, that kind of stuff. I'm not a fan because I just don't believe that is what life is about. Again, like I believe life is about Jesus and life is about just, living your best life.
Amen.
And I don't think that, earning money and that kind of stuff like that isn't your best life. But anyway, love Andy Mineo. Lecrae, fantastic. Get Back Right. If you haven't heard that song, one of my favorites right now, it's one of the songs that the NFL is actually sponsoring. So every time you listen to that song, they donate to some sort of charity. I know if you listen. So listen to Get Back Right by Lecrae. Great message, good song. And then Jackie Hill Perry, another Christian artist, one of my favorite rappers. So.
All right. Do you listen to NF?
I do a little bit. A little bit. Some of his work pretty good. I would say it's pretty good.
All right. I think I'll answer the question now. So groups from different types of music I listen to. Wow. I think you can get along with this one too. Have you heard of John Bellion?
No, I haven't.
All right, he is many things. He's a very, 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 very talented musician. I've been lucky enough to see him live. He's actually technically, in as many classifications, one of them is Christian artist.
Okay.
His song "Hand of God," also New York Soul Part 2, both of those amazing songs I think you would like. But John Bellion, my favorite band of all time has to be a band called Laney. So it stands for LA, New York. It's 3 guys and they make sad pop music, but it's like it's got like an 80s synth vibe, and it's so good. But like I said, I listen to just about anything. I went through a rap phase in high school. I'd say I'm more out of it now, but other artists I like are Chelsea Cutler, Quinn 92, I don't know. I'm a big Zeppelin fan.
Get that.
Yeah, big Zeppelin, The Doors, Bob Dylan.
Ooh, Bob Dylan's good.
Yeah. Frank Sinatra. Like I said, I listen to it all.
Classic.
Yeah, so if you could see anyone live in concert, who would it be?
Oh man, this is hard because I I actually haven't been to like a live concert in a while.
Mm-hmm.
So
Or tell me about your first concert.
my first concert. So have you been to Kings Dominion before?
I have.
Have you ever been to Kings Fest?
I haven't.
So Kings Fest is something that Kings Dominion has. It has a lot of Christian artists come. I don't remember when my first concert was there, but one of my favorite ones, Toby Mac. I love Toby Mac. One of my favorites. Shout out to him because his son just died about a month or two ago. He just came out with a song about it. I would definitely listen to it if you want a good cry, because you will have a good cry listening to that
Oh,
song.
I know I cried several times.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, you're right there with me, Zach, on that one. But it just like for his concert, so it was him, who's like a big Christian rap artist, if you don't know, and then it was Chris Tomlin, who is a big kind of like contemporary Christian. And I would have never thought I'd see the day where they would collab. So they collabed on a couple of songs, and like Toby Mac is like flipping off speakers and like all this stuff, and everybody's like getting into it. And it was good, just being with my family too.
Yeah.
One of my favorite concert moments. How about you? What's your favorite concert moment? Maybe not your first concert, but your favorite concert moment that you've ever had.
Wow. I've been lucky enough to see John Belly and Laney. Quinn 92. I've seen Florida Georgia Line. I've seen Morgan Wallen twice. My favorite concert moment. Laney has a song called Made in Hollywood.
Okay.
And I went with my girlfriend to go see them, and right before it was the same day as the shooting that happened in Norfolk, and right before they were set to come on, they all come out, and everything's black and everything, there's just a spotlight on them, and they're just like, we want to have a moment of silence for what just happened and everything. And that just gave the entire concert this whole new energy, this whole new vibe, and it was just they really brought everyone in the room together, and I thought that was special, and that was something that I was so glad to be a part of.
That's good.
But yeah, I think, and then seeing, it's been my how could I not mention this? I've seen Hosier live. He's an Irish singer.
Oh, really?
He sings "Take Me to Church." He sings.
Yeah.
He's not. Most of my music taste isn't on mainstream radio.
Yeah.
But he's had a couple songs. "Take Me to Church" was big. I guess when we were in high school, but I saw him a couple months ago, and that was just, again, that was amazing. But this kind of leads into one of our last questions. So, what music group has helped you through life the most?
Wow, that's a great question, because again, with a lot of me listening to a lot of worship music, listening to a lot of Christian music, I feel like every day, I have to listen to it to get me through my day, just because I have to hold on to that hope. But I think if I think back to a moment where I had to cling on to music the most, it was definitely 2 years ago, when my girlfriend broke up with me. That happened a couple years ago, and it was really cool to cling on to. One of my favorite groups is Bethel. Bethel Worship, and they're located in Redding, California, and their music is just straight from the Word, straight from the Bible, and it just allowed me to cling on to hope, and just a time where again, breakup's not the worst thing in the world, and I figured that out through that time, but it's just cool, man. It's just awesome and amazing to see the power of music, even lyricless music. And listening to movie scores and listening to orchestral stuff. Oh man, it just gets me, man, every time. How about you, man?
Wow. Quick answer to this question, because we're running out of time. The band Kings of Leon, they have, I don't know, 7 studio albums now maybe, and I can use any of them to get through whatever. I mean, it's very gritty alt southern rock, I think, is their classification. But they've got just so much different stuff, so much great stuff. If I'm, there's songs for when I'm angry and I need a nice guitar or some drums, or there's some softer songs. There's some songs just for every occasion. But I think the album that really did it for me is Only by the Night. That was 2008, which I think is the best year for music across the board, really. And yeah, Kings of Leon, you can't go wrong with them. But if my eyes don't deceive me, we're out of time.
I think we're out of time right now, my guy.
All right, well, Bridgewater listeners, thank you for, you know, going to the KCC with us. Thank you for being there, for coming out to our event. Thank you for tuning in.
Oh, definitely.
And these are your two Squawk Talk hosts right here signing off. Have a great night.
Oh, yeah. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
And thank you, Justin. And thank you, Holden. It was really great listening to y'all. And thank you all y'all in the KCC just for coming out and just listening to all the segments we had. We had, like, on sports, news, all local and all national, also entertainment, and, of course, Squawk Talk. Yep. And you can see us next week on the 22nd at 7, same time, Midweek Radio Show. And if y'all want to, like, join BC Voice, there's always a meeting Monday at 5 in Bowman 24. That's the basement. You can always, you know, check it out. You don't always have to join, but just to see what's going on. Thank you, everyone. Just have a great night.